everybody. It's Bill from SITREP Podcast, and I am coming to you with a special project. Now, at some point in everybody's miniature wargaming hobby and career, if you will, there comes a time where you wonder if you can push your comfort zone and think, can I do one of those really big presentation minis, a bust, something that, is a major display piece. In the past, I have done a couple smaller items. I remember in high school, I made a Zulu war chieftain for my father. Found an old lead Zulu mini, or white metal, I'm assuming. And I actually took real hair from our sheepdog and made his war bonnet and his dress, the uniform, the outfit, whatever you want to call it, the tribal wear, and gave him that. And I tried to be as historically correct as I could by looking at different resources. Over the years, I've painted a lot of minis, from 6 mil, actually 3 mil. I have tanks that I've done in 3 mil, and I've done 6 mil and 8 mil and so on and so on, 15, and obviously up to 28. One of the best display pieces I'm very proud of is the Bugman's mini that you can get at Bugman's Cafe at Warhammer World. Not a big Warhammer player, but we were there for some broadcast journalism things, working with Warhammer. And while we were in the store, I'm like, I really want that. So I took that and I painted them up, and I took my time on it, and I thought it looked really good. That's probably the biggest display piece thing I've come up with. We've made gaming tables and whatnot, but everybody who paints, I'm assuming, if you're like me, at some point goes, what if? Could I do it? Maybe. Should I give it a shot? We only live once, so why not? So I have the 1/10 scale of Captain Winters during their run up to Curragh. It's called the Curragh model. This was during after D-Day. If you watch the show, when they're getting ready to take on the guns, they're running up there, and he does the famous, as you can see here, salute. So, not salute, but hand gesture towards the other guys coming up to hold fast. So we're going to tackle this, and I'm hoping to make it look very similar to what's on the box art here. And I'm nervous, to be honest with you, because one, this is a real person in real life. Well, it's actually two real people, right? This is Damian Lewis, the actor who played Captain Winters in the show, Band of Brothers. And then you have the real, was Major Winters when he left military service. And so I feel I have to give props. I have to do the best I can to make sure that I don't screw up. And I've never done anything in this scale. This is a 1 1/10 scale miniature. So we're going to go to the overhead camera, and we're going to open up the box and take a look at the pieces. And I'm going to talk through my thoughts and what my plan is. And then from there, we'll clean it up. We'll assemble it, or will we? And green stuff and the seams. So let's go to the overhead camera, shall we? This is a U.S. 101st Airborne Normandy 44. They call it the Curragh model, and it's very obviously Damian Lewis from the Band of Brothers show. It was sculpted by Young B. Song, great 80s band. No, I'm just kidding. Amazing sculpt. And then this one was painted by, I want to say, is that Michelle or Michael Lee? And then the photograph of the box art is by Calvin Tan. So, and as you can see, this is a 1/10 scale resin bust. This is from the Young Miniatures out of Korea. I bought this off a different website that sells, specialty minis. And it caught my attention, and I'm like, well, I'm going to give it a try. I want to try and see if I can get it as close as I can to what is you see here on the box. So let's go ahead and open it. So just real quick, these are other sculpts that are available for purchase from this artist. Just amazing work. So, and these are just busts. They're not miniatures. These are 1/10 scale. So we'll leave that over to the side here. And we'll pick off the foam. And there you go. Whew. There's quite a few pieces in here. So I'm going to move the box off to the side and we'll pull out the pieces, shall we? All right, first we'll start with the main body. As you can see, very well detailed. It's got keyed for some of the arms and hands. Not too much as far as flashing. There's a little bit here that we need to take care of. But other than that, pretty clean resin model. Yeah. So, all right, we're going to put the main body torso there. And then inside, you get the helmet and the head. And here is the helmet. Again, it's got a little bit of sprue piece here. We'll probably have to remove this here. And there is a chunk of resin right here I just noticed. It's going to need to be removed so the helmet fits correctly. Because this key, I don't know if you can see it, but this key here, this piece of resin is in the way of the key to fit inside the helmet. So right now, it won't fit. So we'll put that off to the side. And then we have another bag with his hands and an arm. And his sling, it looks like, for his rifle. So we'll pull that out. And that is definitely the sling. And his arm. Very well detailed again. And you can see there's a chunk of resin sprue left here. And then his hands. And this is his right arm. So this should fit in there, right? So this chunk of resin right here has got to come off because this one is keyed. Well, it might go in there. It needs some shaping, but I don't want to break anything, but yeah. So, and then his other hand will fit. It's supposed to fit in there like that. So we're going to have to clean up some resin more than I thought I was going to have to do when I first opened the box, just curious as to what it looks like, and I just dropped it on the floor, but that's all right. Moving on, we have his rifle. And there's some pieces here. Oh, this is his chin strap to his helmet. This is what this is. This is not a sling. That's his chin strap to his helmet. So we'll look at his helmet closer. But here is his M1 Garand. And it's going to need this block of resin taken off so we can insert the barrel into the rifle. It's very well detailed. Little cleanup here. And then we have is that his buttstock? But it is. That's the butt plate. It actually has a butt plate. So I don't know if you can see that, but there's a butt plate right there. And then here is the sling that needs to be removed from all this resin flash. But there it is. Thunder. If you've seen this series, you'll understand what that is. Okay, so that's all the parts. I'm going to grab my knife here, and we're going to clean up what we can. Thankfully, the resin is not super hard. And for all you people, I'm not using a mask, respirator, whatever you want to call it. I'm not filing at the moment. I probably will at some point have to, but when I just don't have one with me. But safety first. And speaking of filing, do you have a file here? Sorry, guys. This gets your health and safety going. Okay. And then the butt plate. Sure looks like a butt plate. Let's look at the box here. I mean, that's all you get. There's no assembly instructions. If you look through the box, it is literally foam and an empty box. So for people who aren't familiar with, this is not a thing for a beginner whatsoever. Trust me on that one. This butt plate, that's wild, man. They put a butt plate on it. Actually, this is the outside of the butt plate. I don't know if you guys can see that right here, but there's actually, sorry if it's blurry. But yeah, I can see it. So this is actually, this piece has got to come off, this little tab here. And I didn't grab my clippers, so I'm going to grab my clippers. Got my clippers. We're going to clip off as much as the resin as we can, so we don't break it. Sure, I'm not feeling any of the raw edges. And that is going to go right there, but it's kind of bent. So I'm going to have to apply some pressure to it when I glue it, which I'm going to do right now. So let me move the sling, the barrel, the garbage we'll put over there, and chin strap over there. All the resin dust, yeah, going everywhere. I'm going to float that around. And we're actually, I have two glues I'm using today. These were recommended to me for this project. Gorilla Glue, I have a brush nozzle and the gel. Because some of the pieces might need a little more extra gap gripping power, so that's why I went to gel, but I'm going to also use the brush here. And actually, I'm going to put it on the buttstock. Helps dry it, and we'll just sand that down when we get ready. Okay. That finished drying up. So now we have to put the barrel in here, which will be interesting. So I'm going to clip this off. I'm going to be very careful I don't clip the entire thing off, which I may have done. So there's a slot. Yeah. So, and then there is his sling. Be very careful because resin's brittle. And I want to take off any extra detail. That's not supposed to be there. No, it's not. Let's clip that out. So what I'm doing is clipping that. There's flash here. And some flash in there. So you gotta be careful, it snapped. And I didn't even realize it. So I have to be very careful now. Very frustrating. Let's see. So it looks like, if I'm looking at this correctly, this is supposed to go here. There's a little tab here and here. That's how the barrel's the weapon's supposed to go. Oh, let me grab his hand real quick. So it's a very fragile thing. Let's get the barrel put on before I lose it. So we're gonna go and zap it just to make sure. And then I get, oh, God damn it. You gotta be really careful. This thing is very brittle. I just snapped here and there. So now they're gonna get a little glue to seal them up. That dry. I don't know if you can see it, but there's some flashing right here. I'm gonna try and get with the knife instead. Okay, we're gonna. So I'm at a point. Sorry guys, I don't know why my mat moved there. At a point where the question is, do I paint each piece individuals so I can get these colors? Because I could do the flesh tone. Well, I think I'm going to assemble the mini. I think that's what I'm going to do. So let's start with his head. Okay. And for this one, I'm going to use the gel. Let me seal this up. I thought about doing every piece separately when I went to paint it. But the more I think about it, I have to make sure that I don't paint the areas that need to be glued. I'm just going to have to be real careful with this. I mean, I'm going to be spending time on it anyways. So, you know, it is what it is. Oh, crap. I shouldn't have put him on until I cleaned his head off. Well, that was a bonehead move. So we are going to clean his head off. The rest of this bigger pieces out of here. So that's what I'm doing. I'm getting these pieces out of here. I have to say this resin files very nicely. It's not super brittle. Let's see if his helmet fits. It would if the stupid resin chunk wasn't in the way. So I gotta take this resin chunk out now. Yeah, this really would have been helpful with the Dremel, but it's all right. We'll get it. It's not pretty, but thankfully you don't see it. So, all right, let's see what we got. Hey, success. All right. So we're gonna add some gel. This does have a little bit of extra working time than other super glues, I should say. All right, Dijon. Look at that. Okay. While I'm at it, I'm going to take care of this flashing right here. I got this hunk of flashing here, but I'm going to leave that for now till I figure out how I'm going to display this, you know, plinth or whatever. I don't know. I don't know. I have ideas. But we'll have to see. Sorry, guys. Left is right, right is left. You know, front is back, back is front. Okay. His chin strap actually is on him. I don't know if I want to. I know it's on. Sorry, I'm just looking at the orientation of the buckle. Are you kidding me? Well, mistake number one. I just broke a strap. this should have been heated up in hot water to make it softer and pliable. So I will have to figure that one out. Let's move on to his arm, shall we? And I have to remove this chunk of resin right here. This is a key. We're not removing that. That's a key. Okay. All right. We will zap his arm. I'm going to shake this stuff up. This super glue actually needs to be shaken to mix. There's that. Now his hand. Let's get rid of this chunk of resin. Perfect fit. Perfect fit that time, guys. Perfect fit. I'm going to zap some gel in there. We're going to zap some juice, magic juice. We got some of the glue spilled over, but that's fine. Let that harden up. So I've decided what I'm going to do about these straps. I'm going to make them out of green stuff. We're going to green stuff them. That's what I'm going to do. And this one has a keyhole. So we're just going to trim a little bit off. All right. Now, this rifle go right about, come on now, here, right? Yeah, that's kind of how he has it. So the rifle, obviously, I am not going to put in until we paint the rest of them. The rifle's going to stay out, okay, because that just makes sense. All right. So literally, I need a chin strap and a sling for his M1, and then we'll go from there. So now we're going to green stuff some seams. There's not much to really do. There's one back here. His hands look good. It's pretty tight all around. There's a little bit of here. I might throw a little bit in there. Let me clean up my sight. Okay, so we've got it mostly assembled. Like I said, the rifle's going to come out. That's going to get taken care of separately. And then we're going to go ahead and paint Captain Winters up. But first, we have a few gaps, very minor, but there's a decent one right here. We're going to fill that up. And then there's a little bit here. Helmet-wise, really isn't anything. Head-wise, perfect. There's a little bit of super glue overflow here, but we can sculpt that in. So we don't really need a lot right now of our green stuff. This is not really green stuff. It's a different company, but essentially this is actually made by PPG. So this might be the real dealio stuff. Let me take some out. And like I said, you're not going to need a lot. A little bit goes a long way. So I am literally going to cut that much off. That is it. It smells weird. It smells like popcorn. Kinda. Like buttered popcorn. Don't know why. It would smell like buttered popcorn. So blue stuff turns into green stuff. Blue, yellow, epoxy. You knead it right. Knead it tight. That's what it's called, knead it tight. So you're just going to work it. You want to try and get it a uniform green, no blue or yellow streaks showing or patchiness. And it gets sticky. So we're going to take off a little piece. I'm going to start with this little piece. And I'm rolling it. And rolling it. And then we're going to go. And I am filling a seam. Like these. And I'm just pushing it into his uniform. And then I got to feather it so it doesn't look like it's added to the uniform. And I do have a tool right here. So we're going to use that to help us. And we're going to come around. I didn't want to wrap around to do this. I want to do it separately because I don't know if you guys can see it on camera very well, but there's a gap here that we're going to fill. And that looks pretty natural. And there's a little bit of a hole there. We'll take this little tiny piece and we're just going to plop it in there. Work it in there. Work it in there. Work it in there. Might need a little bit more than that. I got another little piece here. As you can see, this stuff goes a long way. I'm just looking to make sure there's no unnatural ridges or shapes, which there doesn't seem to be. And that'll dry up nicely, and then when we prime it. Okay, then we can get rid of this chunk right here. Sometimes just using your thumb helps push it in and makes it more natural and feathering it. All right, so we're going to go in here, and actually, I'm going to thin this out even more. I'm going to thin this out. Like that. Because I'm actually can see the seam all the way. So I am just trying to work it. There's not much of a seam there to get it in. So all right, I just need to fill it. I don't need to, it's not a huge gap. I just got to get some in there. Okay. All right. That looks pretty good. We got to let that stuff dry, clean it up. Then we can go to phase 2, deciding our paint scheme. And not actually a paint scheme because we already know the paint scheme. But how we're going to come up with those colors and how we're going to approach this model. So as you can see, even from that little bit, I still have plenty of green stuff left. So I could make his sling right now, but I'm not ready to. So let's let him dry. And so there you go, guys. That's phase 1, assembly and cleaning of this 1/10 scale bust of Captain Winners or Major Winners. It goes together pretty easy. You just got to clean up the resin flashing and the, from where it came off the sprues. There was really only one area that needed some seams work, and that was right here. Other than that, there's like no seam lines at all that I can find. So good on them, man. This is a serious display piece. I mean, serious. And we'll get this together. And like I said, I'm going to have to create a chin strap because the resin one broke. I knew it was going to happen, to be honest with you. It's so fragile. And then the sling, while it's still okay, I'm seriously thinking about making a green stuff sling. It'd take a little work, but I mean, it'll come out nice. We'll see. We'll see. So there it is. And I will see you in the next one, which will be hopefully next weekend. It should be next weekend, where we get color on this thing, at least some base colors. If you guys have any questions or anything about this miniature or anything coming up from SITREP Podcast, we cover historical war gaming. We cover miniatures, tabletop games. We have expanded our genre to include other formats, fantasy, sci-fi, weird, all that stuff, under the Other Realms label. We used to have a separate channel. We still do. We just kind of combined it a little bit. So, yeah. So we cover everything. So if you have a question about anything, or if there's something you'd like to see us play, build, paint, let us know. This is Bill for SITREP Podcast, and I will see you in the next one. Take care. 3, 2. Hey, everybody, it's Bill from SITREP Podcast. Let's try that again. 3, 2, 1. Hey, everybody, it's Bill from SITREP Podcast, and I am here to talk about. Fuck. Let's try again.